Hello, Internet. What is going on, everybody? How are we doing this evening? My name is Leva Fed and Dragons, and I am the Dungeon Master for my wonderful cast at the Golden Feathers of Tiantang. You can find us on Tuesday nights, every other Tuesday. We had started last Tuesday, January 2nd at 8:30 Central Time, where we run a D&D campaign. It's a 5e campaign set in a East Asian themed fantasy world. And last week was or earlier this week, or something like that, was our first episode. So, welcome to everybody this evening. I'm going to go ahead and go around and introduce my cast for this evening after I explain just what the hell it is we're actually doing here tonight. So, coming up, the Golden Feathers cast and myself are going to be putting together a short form show where we do a recap of the previous week's broadcast. We will sit around and discuss some points after I do a recap of that. And then we'll have a couple of other segments that we do within that will have some fan interaction. So questions and things like that. There'll be a slot at the end, possibly for fan art. So if you're watching the show and you are an artist of either written or painting or anything like that, we will put up a link that you can send us stuff to, and maybe we will feature you on our show. I don't know, maybe something like that. So, but tonight I have three wonderful individuals that will be joining me for some discussions about our episode from last week. I have the wonderful Bull, I have Zencho, and I have Rig. So if you gentlemen would like to just briefly say hi to the audience, and if there is a social media that you'd like to plug, you may. If not, we will just get off and running with our recap from last week. So take it away, Bull.
Hi, I'm Bull. I'm the mountain dwarf running around. I'm very curious. Social, ambivalent. I'm bull.steer, S-T-I-R, German for bull, on Instagram. But that's all. Hi.
How you doing? And Zencho?
Hi, I'm Troy, playing Zensho, the Tabaxi monk. Kind of a crotchety old man. I still have a Hotmail address, so social media isn't really my strong suit.
Nice.
I have Facebook for Messenger, and that's pretty much it.
Sounds great, thank you. And last but not least, I might English today, possibly, maybe. I don't know for sure, possibly. But Rig, if you could unmute your mic and say hello, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Rig. I've had lots of wine. I only use social media when I'm depressed. That's where we're at.
That's where we're at today. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me this evening on this pilot episode of our new show, which does not have a name yet. So you're not getting a name of the show. I'm just going to call it the pilot episode because, that's how we roll here. So the first segment for tonight, guys, we're just going to talk about the game from last week. The cast started off in the village of Key, where there was some really not so great things going on. There was a dark entity riding a kind of pseudo-looking Dracolich kind of thing. It was all scary and shadowy and ugly. It made a proclamation across the land, echoing off the mountains and the lakes and everything else. Basically, it said, "I took your god. You are now my bitch," is basically what he said, in not so many words. He then commenced to destroy the entire town with fiery black shadowy flames, and all of the buildings exploded. All of them. Gramgarn, who is played by Bull, fell himself out of a guard tower and had a little concussive moment and a kind of a divine moment with his dwarven thrower that he has, which told him he needed to go find his friends. So he threw a young man over his shoulders that he found laying on the ground next to him and took off towards the calm waters, which is the inn in the town.
It was a guard.
Oh,
that
the guard.
With me.
Yes,
I was helping.
You were.
Didn't just grab a random young man.
That's super true.
Situation.
Very, very true. And so he took off back towards the crew who was at the calm waters whenever all this stuff started to go down. Zencho, who had been sleeping off-site because, well, doing Zencho things, had to dip, duck, dive, boulders, and flying debris while trying to get back to the party. And then they all watched the calm waters get lifted off the ground. One moment, please. My apologies. Children and things. The calm waters got lifted off of the ground and shattered into a billion pieces. And all the crew could think was, oh my God, where is Vala? And at the time they didn't know the name, but Vanko, the two dwarf owners of the calm waters that had helped them and kind of given them jobs and some different things during preseason. One of our other players, Prezira, saw a arcane kind of dome kind of over top of the where the calm waters used to be. And some of the teammates got up there, looked down in there, saw 3 figures. We're like, oh, hey, there's people down there. And then somebody threw their hammer at said dome to try to see if he could get through it, but it kind of, sparked off of the top of it. And then one of our lovely tabaxi decided to try to touch said dome and got his paw electrocuted. And then he got told through his mind, hey, if you wanted in here, you just had to ask. You didn't have to be, crazy about it or anything. The dome subsides and we find a new player standing over top of the dwarfs inside of this little pit that had been left behind. And we got introduced to the character Noct, which is another party member. And after some goings back and forth, they saw some shadowy entities coming from down the street and starting to make their way into town and taking prisoners and things like that. And so Zencho suggested, hey, we should probably get out of here. And there was this little tug at his side. And there was this young little 4-year-old girl who decided to call Zencho hers, I guess, at this point. And Zencho rescued her from the city, along with about 26 other people, as the party wisped away through the smoke and got out of town to the northeast. They made their way to a small village or a small settlement called Three Lights, where they had brought all of the people that they had rescued from Key, which was destroyed. And they were going to drop them off and then kind of plan about what they were going to do and then try to get some answers maybe somewhere else. Well, they were going to drop off this little girl at the camp. And of course, Zencho just couldn't leave a child behind in a filthy tent, which we'll get to that here in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Our kobold friend Rig took a bunch of rope after they found some horses and an old turnip cart, and the bronze kobold decided to tie the horses and the turnip cart all together, and that is how they left town, riding on a turnip cart pulled by 2 draft horses tied with rope, which was absolutely amazing. The crew had some interactions on the way. They decided to go not to the capital, which is where the only other temple of the god Bahamut is located. They decided to try to stay away from that because the big baddie destroyed the other temple, which was in the village of Key. And they're like, maybe we shouldn't probably go there. Maybe we should try to find answers about what some of this could possibly be somewhere else. And so on the way to a different city, a city that goes by the name of Crossroads, there were a lot of interesting character interactions. There was a lot of downtime, and the players got to kind of not interview one another, but like start pulling together small pieces of who each individual was. And we ended the night with our character Noct having a dream or a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a daydream, but a like a vision. A vision. Thank you. Of somewhere that he was before he ended up here with this crew. And that's where we ended for the night. So, my cast. What were some of the more favorite things from the first episode? How did you feel the first episode started, and how did you feel it went?
No, I thought it went well, especially for our first episode. I mean, there's a lot of very organic character talking that you had made reference to. Once everybody kind of got in their groove, it was a lot more speaking as your character instead of talking about your character.
I
for the first person very naturally. Felt nice.
Yeah, I think that, you know, in any game that I've ever been in, been a part of in the past, a lot of them don't get out of that third person view, right? It's always, hey, my character does this or my character says that or whatever. But this game flowed, like you said, very quickly away from, hey, my character to, you know, Gromgarn looking at Rig or Gromgarn looking at Zencho or vice versa and just talking. Like it was just a really amazing interaction to be able to see those things take place on night number one. And to let the audience know, you know, not everybody on the cast here knows one another either in your real life or really outside of being brought together for this cast. Myself, I have a few of the folks on the cast who I've known for quite a few years, but there are some people like Bull and myself who just met like maybe a month and a half ago. And so we don't have a lot of history there. So it was really, really special for me as the Dungeon Master to get to see that flow from building a character and taking it into interacting. Like, fuck, it was almost seamlessly. It was great. I really, really enjoyed that. So, if you could go ahead.
Behind the scenes, I don't know if play by post is the right phrase. There was a lot of establishing content for a lot of different characters. On that note, how the hell did the wave happen? Was I not paying attention? Or Zencho, did you message him to set that up? Because I feel like I missed a conversation at some point.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a Discord chat, but it wasn't a lot. It was probably, what, 2 messages from each of us back and forth?
Yeah, it wasn't much.
I just couldn't tell if I had just stopped paying attention.
It was my intention
when that happened, or what?
When we were still near the pit before we left Key.
Yeah.
It was my intention to like take this girl specifically because Tony had said I saw a young girl and I saw 2 younger men, but like adults.
Two like teenagers helping a grandparent kind of thing.
And not to kind of give away any potential future backstory, but Zencho would single out the child because of his own childhood, his own upbringing. And I wanted to express my intention to like actually take this child and not just include it in the group of 26 that we saved. But the group, we kind of moved away from that point. So I shot Tony a message saying, hey, you know, not to rewind the clock, but like it was my intention to specifically be the guardian of this child. And then later Tony introduced the little girl, you know, addressing me, which is when everybody else found out. So yeah, everybody was kind of in the dark on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it a lot. For Gramgarn's background, also not to throw too much of that out, I like Gramgarn would have absolutely no issue whatsoever. Like my read on the situation was, yeah, no, you're protecting this kid. Cool. That's the way it is. We're rolling with it now. We got a kid. Gonna take care of the kid. Kid's got a knife. See what happens.
Right. It was such just a quick, like, And those are the kind of moments that I really appreciate in games and in campaigns. When a player, like, it's just so organic to the situation that's going on right there, but it's like this little addition that gets snapped onto the game, and then it instantly becomes like canon, or it instantly becomes like something that the game like cycles off of from there. And you have no idea what's going to happen with Mia going down the road. Fuck, I don't even know what's going to happen with her going down the road, if I'm being honest. But it's just another level of flavor to the game that just is, it's fascinating. I love it. I love those kinds of moments.
And there was some reaction, and I couldn't quite tell if it was everybody being in character or if it was people, just speaking their own personal opinions. But it's like, yeah, I know, adding a 4-year-old to a D&D game, yeah, it's rough. But I don't know.
We're here.
That's what my character would do, and
Yeah.
We're here.
Sencho's not gonna just casually allow 4-year-old to wander into like a beholder's lair or something like that, So it's
Well, it also made sense. Like we were in that ramshackle town. There's nowhere to send a kid off safely there.
yeah. And I specifically made a check to see if I could find that girl's actual family, not just an adult who would allow, who would accept this child for who knows how long.
Right.
Mincho's point of view, well, if I just give him some random adult and then wander off, who knows what happens? It's again
Precisely.
From his own childhood, he's reluctant to just let another child potentially experience anything like he had to go through. So it's, of course, the obvious decision for Zencho is to bring this girl with him.
I think one of my... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And I meant to like type up like maybe a 1 or 2 page thing to share with the group. But again, this is one of those things where it's like I wanted to interject, but I didn't want to interrupt where the group was going. But I kind of wanted to have a little aside where I spoke to Mia. But the intention of giving her my second sword isn't for her to fight with us. It was more going to be like a consolation, like, this child just went through something incredibly traumatic and presumably inconsolable. So, it's one of those adorable moments where it's like, here's the sword, look, and I unsheath it and it's glowing light blue because it's a glowing blade. It's no other effects other than the glow. But to a child being like, here's this glowing weapon, it'll keep you safe. Just hold it real tight, to help that child feel safer and taken care of. Not like I'm arming a child for battle. Like, yeah, new frontline character, like go first.
Is it customary to arm children, Troy? It was such a fun, I don't know, that whole interaction was just so, it was fun. I don't know what else to say about it other than it was a really good frickin' time. That's for damn sure. So.
I want to, Tony, you're going to love this. I'm really going to want to start getting, do we have a name for the child?
Mia.
Sorry, I keep forgetting.
Mia, that's okay.
I want to start getting Mia's read on Noct. The color changing skin and the whole freaking situation, because I feel
going to be interesting.
Have the best perspective there,
right? I think that she'll probably need to have some interaction, like within the group, like watching him for a little bit to like have that perspective. I don't think it'll take a super long time, but I think that little bit of interaction is going to need to happen probably. Just for to be able to have to bounce something off of,
I feel like I could do a whole like mini episode just on Noct right now with the number of questions I have. The visual you threw at the end of the fight in his office. First off, the fact that he has an office. We've established that. He comes from and has an office. And there was a fight in the office. I have so many freaking questions now. I have like such cool mental imagery of it, but so many fucking questions.
It's so Dakota's character, or Shiro's character, Noct, who is an astral elf, for those of you who might not have gone back and watched our first episode. So Shiro is playing a Astral Elf, and the crew is really struggling right now with this particular kind of race, or like whatever you want to call it, because it's very, very foreign to anything that any of them know. And the other thing that's driving the crew really fucking crazy is there's 2, possibly 3 of them in the crew that are like incredibly well read, and they have no idea. They know nothing.
I feel like for me, if not for my character, though I would also say probably for Graham Card, it's less. I feel like my character would also be less concerned with whatever the hell he is not being familiar. Because, like, backstory wise, I've seen a lot of weird shit that doesn't make sense that I can't explain. Like, That's why I'm well read, because things happen that I don't understand, and I'm trying to understand them. So, like, that's less of a concern. And well read because
there we go. Sorry.
When he like starts taking, when he asks what a freaking horse is, and he didn't know that it's not common for towns to get destroyed. Like, everything was so utterly confusing for him. Like, that's my first question. I don't really care that he seems odd. I'm fascinated by the fact that he has absolutely no idea what's happening on our plane of existence.
Unfortunately for you here tonight, Grom, I can't really reveal too much more because of there's going to be a lot more coming, in the games ahead. That and him and I still need to sit down and talk a little bit about some things that went down in the game that we need to talk about. And unfortunately, those things can't be shared with you guys just yet. But it's safe to say that the way that story is going to start to get tied into things, and eventually, I really think that you, as lovers of TTRPG and storytelling and things like that, I think you're really gonna love the hook that comes with this. And I'm excited. Everybody's stuff has just got me like on fire this week. Like, we ended that game and I'm like, damn, I have so much stuff that I need to do and want to do, and so many questions, and like, can we just play tomorrow? Because I'm ready to just like keep this story going. So I don't know, it was a really good time. And that was another really great interaction to see. So one thing that I have to go back to, and Brady, I'm going to have you unmute your mic. Rig. How did you feel? It's all good. How did you feel when I put you on the spot with how are you going to fashion 2 draft horses and a turnip cart as Rig? Like, what kind of mental gymnastics started to happen during that part? Because, damn.
Well, it was mostly the realization that I had the highest animal handling. And it's like, oh, well, I have to be responsible for this now. So really then I had to be like, well, why would we have any kind of animal handling? Like, lived in a cave, has no... I decided if I was interested in horses or animals or things like that, and then I had to be like, would I know how to interact with them? So, that's kind of a line of thinking, but really, like, naming the horses and trying to figure that out was not what I was expecting to do in that instance.
But it was a truly hilarious moment. And is it Rourse and Rex? It's Rourse and Rex, right?
Yeah.
So something that people might know if they're just watching the show for the first time, or this show for the first time tonight, is Rig has a great axe that has a name, and its name is Rax, Raxe. So it's Rig and Rax. And Rax, I'm going to do air quotes here, Rax talks to Rig and it's just this whole interaction between. So when you guys came up with Rorse and Rex, I was like, I have so many R's to try to remember. I'm over here writing this down, going, how the fuck am I going to keep this all straight? I have no idea, but it was hilarious.
Rig has that sound system where everyone's name is an R. It's just the thing that I do as a character for him.
Right.
So
Right.
anyone in the party is Roar, is an R. So we got Ram, we got Rencho, got Reese is the only one who gets to have his normal name, and that's why Rig liked
Right. It was easy to say, right?
Yeah.
Right on.
I don't think I
Awesome.
ever asked Rig, did Rig name Rax, or did Rax tell Rig that Rax's name was Rax?
Your character has probably never asked Rig, and I don't think anyone bothered to question it, but Rig has named it Rax. Rax actually has a different name, but Rig is not aware of what it is in
Okay.
full truth.
I like that.
Which we can get into down the road. But, you know, as of right now, I find it so amazing and funny that I think as the DM watching you guys interact and the characters interact, I have this feeling that part of the crew believe that Rax actually talks to Rig, and I think there's a part of the crew that's like, he's just like schizophrenic or something weird like this, or just different, right? Not weird, but different. So it's fun to watch the facial expressions of the players and those interactions, because I don't know, I just find that to be hilarious.
I have a lot of fun with it. I want people to question it until they can actually address it or care to, but
Right.
I like that it's unclear. The only difference is that I'll use slightly bigger words when I'm speaking for Rax, and that could go either way.
That's very, very fair. And Graham, what was it that you said? Oh, it was when Brady, when you described that Rig doesn't know that he's a cleric, like a kobold that doesn't really understand that he's a cleric. Like, that was so perfect of a description of that character. It was just great. It was amazing. I think it was a moment that it's like, oh yeah, he has no idea. So
It made
Kobold
Rig
see
click a lot
shiny
better
thing.
for me.
Yeah. Kobold want
Right?
shiny thing. Greatest shiny belongs to Rig.
Right? It's the biggest shiny. All the shinies must be mine, or at least this one. So, oh my God, stop digging.
When the group was talking amongst ourselves about that animal handling, I'm actually tied with Rick and Rax for highest animal handling. But I was just like, I knew it would be to better effect if Rick and Rax did the.
And you already have a child. You don't need two horses and a child.
Yeah. I don't think
two turntables and a microphone, right? Oh my God! Well, that's hilarious. So, what other interesting things from that game pop up into your mind? Like, what are some of the other fond memories that you have from the first night of being together as a cast? Are there any?
I like the interaction between I'm bad with names, so it's escaping me right now. Our new wizard friend.
Yeah.
And sorry, let me pull this up.
Noct, our wizard friend.
Noct and Brazier.
Yeah, Noct and Tayo.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. So
I feel like that's going to turn into a fight fairly quickly.
Yeah. Either a fight or the complete opposite. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Ty has a past.
Pre-season, Ty was the first person from our little group of 3 to fade to black.
I think one of my favorite things from the preseason was that interaction. And then the way that started was not hilarious for your character, Grom, because like he now hates Kristoff like
It was
with a
hilarious
passion.
how it happened, though.
But hilarious. So
I don't
go
know
ahead,
if
take
Zincho and Rig. I don't remember if y'all were around during that one.
Yeah.
I had that freaking identifying familiar, and I had my mouse, and we were trying to sneak under Kristoff's doorway. Should be a simple task for a mouse. Got a nat 1. So I decided that my adorable mouse named Ball, much like Rig, apparently I just name things with bees. Apparently I had made this adorable little dwarven armor set for my mouse with my smith's tools, because I've been traveling alone, and so I every now and then find familiar and get myself a little mouse, and I decided to cover him in dwarven plate armor that I did not take off before he stealthily tried to walk under the doorway, so it went clanking and got stuck under the doorway as the mouse tried to shimmy out of it. Which, while it sucks, the mouse died. It is a hilarious image.
Yeah.
yeah, the familiar getting smashed and Grom losing his shit and having to walk away, and Prezira and Ty being at the door and trying to come up with some sort of way to get into this guy's house to get the information that they needed, only to have him have a collection of smut from floor to ceiling. And
I can't
those
decide
two
how much of a part of the story he's going to be moving forward. Because I feel like there was a lot more to him than we dug into.
Well, if you remember, I described him as being I can never remember this character's actual name in the fucking show, but he was called the Spider in the Game of Thrones. That's the one. Thank you. I can never remember that. But when you think of Kristoff, you should think of Varys.
Yeah.
So will he be back? I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. Maybe he got ousted. Maybe he made it. I don't know.
Jumped into his.
We'll just have to. Yeah, we'll just have to see. He jumped into his little thing and off he went. So
Christoph von Lordstein, was it? Or
yes,
just Lordstein?
Christoph. No, it was Christoph Lordstein. Oh my God, Christoph Lordstein the third.
The third.
Was it Alexander? I think it's Alexander the third. He was a pretentious bastard. Is basically what he was.
God, I hate him.
And Gromgarn wants to see him die.
I just hate him so much.
Oh,
I both hate him because he's pretentious and gauche, and because he killed my mouse.
That's totally fair. So, moving forward, I think that when we get to the next town, I think you guys are going to have a really good time, because you all have some kind of idea about what you want to try to do to get a grasp on the situation, right? So like we talked about before, Key hadn't been bothered in like 150 years. And so it had a set of war horns, like one on each side of the town, right? And those particular horns that were supposed to be blown whenever an enemy was coming or anything like that, nobody had heard those go off in like 150 years. So when Zhu disappeared during preseason, which is the girl that the first crew went and got and brought back, when they found the tracks for the army that they never saw, and when they kidnapped part of the crew and then you guys had to go rescue them, like none of these things had ever happened in like 150 something years in this town. And so this new onslaught just was a perfect on-ramp to the big bad guy coming and just annihilating the whole place. And it's going to be interesting to see how the characters decide to try to find out information on not only what the hell was that, but like, where do we go? What do we do? Like, what should be our response? What's even going on here? Because you guys don't even have any real super clue on why this is even occurring, right? Super clue. You should write that down. I come up with fun, stupid. Could be. It very well could be. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see you guys get to town and find out just where the hell you go and what you do. I think it's going to be a good time.
Super clue. What was the... We wrote a note about the opposite of inspiration. Was it depression?
The opposite. Yeah, it's depression.
Ranks of depression instead of ranks of exhaustion.
Exactly. We're gonna. Somebody's gonna need to remind me about that so that I could go back and actually make a ranks of depression table, and then I'm gonna make you roll on it. Like, hey, if you've got 2 points, this set of things could possibly happen to you. If you've got this many points, this set of things could possibly happen to you.
Game is too real. We've gone too far.
Reel it in.
Pull it back. I think that's called metagaming. I don't know if we should do that.
I mean, maybe possibly.
My Prozac doesn't extend to my fake life.
super true and things. So, all right. Well, I think that we've hit about our 35 to 45 minute mark is kind of where we wanted to be with this kind of show. So if you're watching this back, if you could leave us some comments in whatever format that you're watching it, whether it was Twitch or YouTube, let us know what you think of the show, how we could improve it, how we could make it better. That would be great. Other than that, we will be back in a couple of weeks with a much cleaner and tuned up version of this. And we might even actually have a damn name for the show. I don't know. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just sit here and talk about stuff. Hell, I don't know. So we're going to go around one more time. We're going to tell everybody who you are, where they can find you if you want to. If not, wave at the camera. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do. So we're going to go in reverse order. Rig, send us out.
Yeah, Rig looks forward to seeing everyone. Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. I like all of our characters, so looking forward to shenanigans and making some fan fiction happen.
I still can't wait to see what you all do with the 10 or 12 names of the smut books that you decided that you were going to write about. So, maybe we'll have to share snippets of that as we go along. So we'll just have to see. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good time. I'm waiting for Prezira messaged me yesterday and she's like, you do know that I'm a writer, right? And I'm like, really? She's like, yes. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, then write me a story. Zencho.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to how we resolve having a 4-year-old. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's Zensho's primary focus going forward until something else shows up. But yeah, trying to be a parent / guardian and a frontliner at the same time. That'll be interesting.
I have so many ideas running through my head about what I'm going to do with Mia. It's driving me fucking nuts.
My own personal Kunoichi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like in the anime, that female character goes, it was like teleports behind you. Like, go find this out and disappear back up into the sky. Give it to me.
We'll see. Maybe I'll have to message you this week. Bull.
I'm Bull. You can find me here. It's easier that way. I don't know. I want to know what the hell voice is. I don't know if Grumgarn was having a concussion and just hearing things. If my hammer is speaking to me. I want to know that. And our sparkly friend. I'm very fascinated by his color changing skin. I would like to know what the hell's happening there.
Absolutely. So, and I am Leva Fed and Dragons, and you can find me on TikTok at Leva Fed and Dragons, where I post D&D and nerdy content. I also link the D&D Vibe Tribe Productions account so that you can find us. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you join us moving forward. We have an amazing cast and an amazing story, and I promise you, if nothing else, you will be entertained. I promise. So, without further ado, I wish you all a wonderful evening, and you guys take care.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.